The office of the future. What does that mean when you think about the office of the future? So think about when you were in high school or elementary school, and you got up in the morning, you went to school, went to class. An hour later, you went to another class, went to another class. Then you got to eat lunch at about 11:15 for 10 minutes or so, and you got to go to another class and another class. And 3:30 came around, and you got to jump in with your parents and go home or hit the bus. And a few years go by, and you turn 18, and you become an adult, and you go to college. And then your world changes. Why? Because now you have freedom. Now you can go to class if you want to. Right? You can go to you can go to study in the cafe. You can go work on a project anywhere you want. It's up to you. You have freedom. A whole new world. And then you grow up a little more, you get a job. And you go to work, first day, 8 o'clock. You better be there on time. In fact, 5 minutes early is on time. Okay, you don't want to be late. Back to the rigid structure again. So we have high school, then college, and then back to work. Now we're structured. Now we're forced to eat at noon. If you're hungry at 11, tough. You got to wait till noon. Okay, and you go home at 4:30, and you start over the next day. So what does that mean when we think about innovation in the office? Well, when you go to work that first day at 8 o'clock in the morning, this is where you get to sit. Okay, this is where they grow and harvest all of our souls from, all that boringness that we work on every day. Okay? Does that inspire you? Does it teach you anything? So how you can change your work environment and your culture to inspire innovation is pretty important. There's two important things there, your environment and your culture. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But what about this? What if your environment changed and you got to work in a place that had natural light? Natural light, windows so you could see the outside in the winter and you could, know that it was light out today versus going to work in the dark, going home in the dark. Cool concept.
So the question is why do you need to change? Why do you need to do this? So let's talk about this for a minute. Remember, every single one of your competitors, if you're in business, you know what they're doing? They're getting up today, figuring out how to beat you out of your marketplace, how to take away your business. So you got to think about, how can I get better? How can my company get better? And I love this quote from Bill Gates. Success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose. Think about that. If you're already successful or a business is already successful, why do I need to change? I don't need to do anything different. I've got this down pat. Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot more people out there that are gunning for your position in business. Here's a great example for you. I was at a conference several years ago. There was a speaker there from Google, and they asked him, who is your biggest competitor you fear? You know what he said? They asked him, they said, is it Amazon? Is it Yahoo? He said, no, it's none of those people. I fear the 18-year-old kid in India that's thinking of a better way to get rid of Google. That's the world we live in. We live in a world where every single day someone's trying to figure out a different way to disintermediate you from your business. That's why you have to change. That's why you create an environment. That's why you have to be more innovative in the things that you do.
So let's talk about this space, this building that you want to build. We did that. We figured we have to build the nicest innovation center we can design. So we hired an architect, talked about these cool walls and this shape, and then we benchmarked someone, and it occurred to us that this might not be about the building. This might be more about the environment on where we work. Imagine that. Okay, so we took our focus off the building, and we looked at ourselves a little bit, back to that work environment. So I've been a manager for many years. I was fortunate early in my career to get promoted, and I had an office with a door. I could shut it when I wanted, and it was lonely. I'm telling you, I could shut that door all day long and nobody would bug me because I was the boss. So think about this. Think about an office with no offices. So you're working in a workstation, and you have your name on your counter, your table, your desk. That's yours, right? That's where you nest. That's where you put all your stuff, all your pictures, all your awards, your plaques. Think about an office where there are no assigned seats, where you have to find a place to work each day based on your work mode. Wow. Ooh, that's scary. That was scary for a lot of our employees. Think about that in your world. If you didn't have an office, what would you do? If you didn't have a workstation that you could call your own, what would you do? Okay, so think about that. And then the natural light thing again. We've traditionally always given the windows to the managers. If you're a new employee, tough luck. You got to look at the wall. Okay, well, in our world, in our office of the future, we believe that everyone deserves an office and everyone deserves a window. So we designed enough spaces for everyone to share an office because they're not reservable. It's there. If I get a phone call from a family member, I can jump in that office and talk to them, just like the 40-year veteran can. New employee, doesn't matter. The office of the future. Think about it differently.
So when you think about that space, think about no offices, no assigned seats. My gosh, what do the employees think? You got to change your mindset. You got to have change management. Things with offices and spaces would fail. Can you imagine if you opened up that space one day and the next day you said, all your employees, here you go, get in there, figure it out. You can't do it like that. That was one of our big learnings, and that's the learning for all of you. You have to do change management. You have to talk to people about the changes that you're about to embark on and why they're important. We went so far as to mock up the space. We showed people the new desks, the new area that they're going to work in. We told them that this is what we expect and how it could change and how it could benefit them. We told them that for 18 months before we moved in. And it started really simple. We had what was called lunch and learns. We brought people in for lunch and we said, hey, let's talk about all these changes. You know what they talked about? Where am I going to put the pictures of my family? How are my coworkers going to know where I am? These are all the little things that go along with a changed environment that we had to deal with and that you would have to deal with. But you have to meet them up front, because the day we opened those doors 18 months later, every single employee knew exactly what to expect. They didn't quite know exactly what the outcome was going to be, but they knew what to expect as far as the space. It was incredible.
So now that you have your mind in the right place and you're moving forward, you got progress, what's flexibility? You know, what's flexibility in an office? How do you reinvent how you work with people? That's a pretty big venture to think about. But flexibility to me in our old office used to be conference room, cubicle farm. Conference room, bathroom, right? That's not fun. That's not innovative. That doesn't inspire me. What inspires you about that? What if you had the ability to work in different places in the office throughout the day? Different modes, right? How about if we support our people with different modes, different physical abilities? Everyone works different. Biggest challenge we had, one of our early learnings was from a senior engineer who worked in an office, didn't manage people. He was just a private person. And he wasn't able to collaborate well, so he thought. And so he was a pessimist, and he was one of that 20% that didn't want to participate, didn't want to move. So 8 months later, we moved into this space, this new environment, and he's now a catalyst for change for us, because there are no offices, right? So now he can move around. He's sharing that mind that he has. He's brilliant, and he's now teaching younger engineers. And it happened magically. We didn't expect it. We expected potential resignations. People were mad. They were angry. What are you doing? You know, so, but there's one other thing that was really important for our learning early on. These are different places to sit, different places to work, and our people didn't have permission.
So what did we do? We gave them permission. We said, hey, you can have a meeting differently. Rather than waiting to schedule the conference room, to get the person next to you, to have the space available, to take a week, the moment is lost. We told people, no, use the vitality areas. Use the casual areas that we created. Get up. If you're in the moment, you got the idea, grab your employee, go over and talk about it. You can work in the cafeteria. Think about it. Because we removed the nameplates, off of every one of the employees' desks, they weren't tied down to have to work there. They were obligated before when their nameplate was on there, but when we said you could work wherever you wanted to and there's no assigned seats, they finally had permission to do it differently. They had a mindset for how we're going to work together in the future. It created a common language for getting work done casually. The biggest thing we learned, and we learned this through a study out of MIT, 80% of all innovation comes from a chance encounter. It comes from two people getting together totally without cause, without purpose, but they have an idea. They get together, they talk about it, they scratch it out on a board. That's the environment that we wanted to create. That's the environment that will take you and your organization to the next level. It's all about finding that edge when you go up to the next step in innovation.
So vitality. Vitality for me is exercise. Leave at noon, go work out, go run, hopefully not too sweaty, come back to work. What does vitality in an office of the future look like? So imagine yourself beaten down by meetings, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, boss is after you, tired. What do? I grab a cup of coffee, caffeine up. If that doesn't work, grab the 5-hour energy. That works every time. It's guaranteed. Well, for me anyway. Or what if you were able to step up and go to a different environment, call it a walking workstation, a place where you can move around without getting all lathered up. You're just going to re-energize your system, get your blood pumping, and then go back to your workstation or to your team, wherever you were working, more energized. And then you look across the office and you see a colleague. Hey, shuffleboard, 5 minutes, let's go. Shuffleboard, that's a game, right? At work, vitality. What if you're able to play a game with someone? And this someone is somebody that you work with, may not be your same function, but you can now engage with them, talk about ideas, have another chance encounter, learn something. Because what do we do after work at the bar? We talk about work, playing a game, goofing around. What if at work, you talked about work with people you don't work with? Think about that.
So the final piece of this is, you got the office right, you got the people right, the mind is right. Well, we better have some more ideas. Because if you've got all the facility in the space, now you can take and harness more ideas. You have the ability to do this. So one of the ways to think about this is crowdsourcing. And crowdsourcing has become a popular term, but it really is a great way to leverage every single employee. We believe in an organization that every single employee can contribute to an idea. You know, here's just a couple examples. You know, like Lay's potato chips, what a great thing. Instead of test marketing and bringing out different flavors, they let people vote on it. What a great thing. They did all the marketing, all the testing, and all the research in one simple step. They picked the one that people liked the best. Or even Heineken beer, who just designed a different beer can. They let people pick that. And in our own organization, projects that might have taken us, you know, maybe 6 months to do the research on, and 12 people given the input, we actually just did a project through crowdsourcing. We have 1,000 salaried employees. 500 of them gave us their opinion, and they gave us 400 ideas in 2 weeks. Think about how much more we were able to innovate that product and that process by being able to harness the power of every single employee. That's the way you can take that edge to the next step in your organization.
So there you go. Ideas is really what this is about. Chance encounters creates ideas. Innovative offices create ideas, inspire people. I want to be inspired at work. Do you? What does inspiration mean? Well, once you have these ideas and you're prioritizing them, you're filtering them out, now what? The goal is to accelerate them. Acceleration is all about speed. In your car, on your bike, whatever. Same thing here. Now that you have these ideas, your customer needs them. They want them. They're going to get them from you or your competition. So accelerate them. Give it to your customer. Give it to your employees. Let them work together in a different way, but make it happen. This is all about building people's confidence in each other and ideating for solutions.
So how do you sum all this up? How do you pull all this together? The first thing you got to do is you got to set your goals. You got to figure out what you want to do in your business, what you want to do in your organization, and what you want to accomplish long term. And you have to be very, very convicted on what that goal is. Now you got to define your space. What space are you working with? Is it a current space? Is it existing space? Is it a new space? What is the territory that you can use within your organization to harness the power of ideas and the people? And you got to be committed to it. Every single person in your organization has to be committed that this is the way we're going to do things. They have to understand it, because you know why? They got to get their mind right. Every single person has to be on the same page. They got to believe that the goals that we've set, this is the way we're going to deliver it. And we firmly believe that if you provide and you put out the office of the future, you can find an idea, you can take a chance, and you can accelerate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.